Good morning. This tutorial is going to be for the Pumpkin Ghost napkin holder cover, and there are 4 designs. The first design is the ghost, which gets placed underneath the center applique of the napkin design, and then the second design is the bat, which gets attached after the napkin holder cover is completed. The third design is the front cover. The fourth design is the back cover. So let's get started. Okay, so I recommend using cutaway stabilizer for these designs because it offers more stability. The ghost is appliqued underneath the pumpkin, and you want it to be fairly thin material. I'll show you. The first one I did with felt, and it was just a little too thick. I don't know if you can see the ridge underneath there. You can see it underneath the applique. So the second time I created it, I used a very light denim, and then I used Olay in the back of it, and you can see it lays much nicer in there. So I would suggest whatever you're going to use for the material for the ghost, you want it to be very thin. Okay, so I've got cutaway hooped, and the first stitch is going to be your placement line. Okay, there's my placement line. Now I'm going to cover this with my material, which again I'm using very, very lightweight denim. This was actually an old shirt that my husband doesn't wear anymore. I save everything. So we're going to cover that, and then I'm going to pin it because it is so light. I don't want it to wrinkle. If you use pins, you want to do front to back so it doesn't scratch your machine. You want to pin out of the stitch area. And then just double check to make sure that your pins are out of your stitch area. Okay, then the first color change is going to be the yellow of the eyes. If your machine does not cut jump stitches, or it doesn't cut them if they're too close together, you want to do it after each color so that you don't have buried stitches. Okay, so there's the eyes. Next color change, we'll put the cheeks in. I selected the wrong color. Okay. I want pink cheeks, not green. There we go. Okay, try that again. Okay, the next color change is going to put a line at the end of the ghost, and that is going to be the line that you line up during the applique process of the pumpkin. So it doesn't really matter what color it's going to be, you just want to use something that you're going to be able to see. It won't be visible after it's attached to the napkin holder. Again, that's going to be your placement for when you're lining up to put the ghost underneath the pumpkin. So the next color change is going to be add the word onto the ghost, boo, and the details of the eyes and the cheeks. trim my jump stitches. Like I said, if you trim as you're going along, then your stitches don't get buried normally. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to attach the backing. And again, you want to use something thin. I'm using Olefun or Olefun, whatever. It's not fraying and it holds up well. This isn't going to be washed a billion times, so in fact it isn't going to be washed at all. Okay, then I'm just going to use painter's tape to attach the backing before I run the final stitch. I'm going to remove my pins at this time. And the last stitch is just going to attach both layers together. Okay, there's the ghost. I did want to mention that this is a bean stitch around here with the exception of the very end of the ghost, and that's because that's going to be underneath the pumpkin. So I just did a running stitch there. Now I'm going to unhoop this. Ghost out. I find it easier to just kind of roughly cut things out first and then go back in and do a little more detailed job. If you use fabric on your ghost, it's going to create the ragged edges. It's going to fray up until the bean stitch. I like the look of that. If you don't like the look of that, then you want to use a very thin felt or something that doesn't fray. Thin vinyl would also work as long as it's very thin. Okay, again, this part is going to be removed when you attach it to the pumpkin, but then to get the edges to fray, you just run your fingernail around the edge, and it starts fraying. See, just like that. Okay, then you put the ghost aside, and the second design is going to be the bat. So I'll get set up for that, and I'll come back and we'll stitch out the bat. Okay, so the second design is the bat, and again, I'm hooping cutaway stabilizer, and I'm using a very thin gray vinyl for the applique. Okay, the first color change is going to be your placement line. You want to cover your placement line with your material that you're going to use. And then the next color change is the cheeks. Okay, again, you want to trim your jump stitches so they don't get buried. And the next color change is going to be the teeth. And the next color change is going to be the mouth and the eyes. Okay, and the final color change is going to attach the backing to the front. Again, I'm using Olay Fun for the backing because I want it to be as thin as possible so that it's not too fluffy on the design. Okay, so this is the backing then. Okay, before I exit out of the design, I just make sure that the back is on correctly, and it is. Remove my tape. And then just cut out the back. Okay, and then he just gets set aside until the very end. So then when I come back, we're gonna stitch out the front side of the napkin holder. So I'll get all set up and come back and show you that. Okay, so the third design is the front cover of the napkin holder, and I've got my design loaded. I've got cutaway stabilizer hooped. This is a 5x7 design, whereas the other two were 4x4s. So the first color change is going to be the placement for the background of the napkin holder. Okay, there's my placement line. I'm going to cover this with felt. Make sure the entire thing is covered. And then the next color change is going to put the stars in, and then the outline of the stars. So I'll go ahead and run those and I'll come back. Okay, I finished the stars, and I did want to mention that even though I did the stars in yellow, even though there is more yellow in this design, do not color sort the colors. There's two reasons for the stars being stitched out first. Number one, as you can see, they're actually behind the ghost and behind the bat. If you did them at the same time as the eyes on the pumpkins, they would be in front of it. Also, depending on what color you wanted to use for your background, you might want to change the color of the stars. Like, let's say you might want to make them silver instead of yellow. So that's why I did that. So even though it looks like, okay, yellow is in several areas of the design, I could just do this all at one time. Do not do that, because it will change the order of how things are stitched out. Trust your digitizer. We do have a method to our madness, and that's the method in this one. So, okay, the next color change is going to put the stems on the pumpkins. So I'll go ahead and stitch that. Okay, there's the pumpkin stems. Now the next several stitches are going to be for the leaves of the pumpkin. I did them one at a time so that you have the option of changing the color of the leaves if you wanted. And so I'll go ahead and do the first one, and I'm going to actually do them all in one color, but I'll do the first one and then I'll pause the machine and I'll pause the video and do the other two. But I'm going to do them all the same color with this background choice, but you do them one at a time in the design. So, okay, the first color change, I'm going to do it all in black because I want all of my outlines to be in black. So the first color change is going to be the placement line. Then you're going to cover it with whatever material you're using. Then run the second line, which is a bean stitch, and then I'm going to trim around it. So. Wrong color. Okay, I hit the wrong color. I'm not going to, normally I would go back and take the stitches out, but since this is going to be the placement line, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go back and rerun it. Okay, there's the first placement line. Now I'm going to cover that with my green felt. And run the tack down. Okay, there's the tack down. Now I'm just going to take my applique scissors and trim around the leaf. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other remaining leaves, and I'm going to pause the camera because it's exactly like this again, and I'll come back then when all three of them are done. Okay, there are all three leaves put in. Now the next set of stitches is going to put the pumpkins in. It's going to do the left pumpkin first, then the right pumpkin, then the center pumpkin. So again, they're separate so that you can change the colors. I'm actually going to do the left and the right one with some orange felt, and my center one is going to be orange flannel. So the reason I'm doing that is because I wanted the color differences, I wanted the texture differences, and I like the way that the fraying on the center pumpkin looks. So I'll go ahead and run the first one, and then I'm just like I did with the leaves, I'll pause the camera so it's not just the same repetitive things over and over and over. and I'll come back and show you when it's done, but I'll do the first one on camera. Again, I'm using black just because it's easier to see, and then I don't have to screw around with changing colors. So there's the placement line, and then I'm going to cover this with felt. And run the tack down. Okay, there's the tack down. Now I'm going to cut around the felt. But one thing I did want to mention, when you're cutting applique, bean stitch applique around the edges, I tend to keep this part attached, because when you cut out the napkin holder in its entirety, it looks a little cleaner if you're also doing the edges of the applique at the same time. Otherwise, this would be cut up into here. But I just leave the little edge, and then it's all inclusive in the final cut. So I go all the way down to the bottom. And then I just leave some. Just like that. And then the rest of this will be cut off when I do the final cut around the entire napkin holder. It just, to me, it makes it look just a little bit more complete. Okay, and then well, I'll do this one on camera too, because it immediately, after you do the tack down, it immediately puts the mouth on this pumpkin and the mouth on this pumpkin. So I'll just do that one on camera too. First stitch is the placement line. I seem to have a problem selecting the right color today. Okay, so black. Okay, like I said, now it's going to do the tack down and then it's immediately going to put the mouth of the pumpkin in both sides, both the left and the right ones. So it's going to do that before I trim. Okay, there's the pumpkins on both mouths. Now I'm going to trim around the bean stitch and leave the end like I did with the left one. There we go. Okay, the next color change is going to put the teeth on the jack-o'-lantern. Okay, I'm just going to trim the little jump stitches. Okay, the next color change is going to attach the ghost to the pumpkin. So you're going to run the first placement stitch, and that's going to be the line that you're going to line up the placement stitch that we stitched on the ghost. So I'll do that in black so you can see it. Okay, there's the placement stitch that we're going to line up the ghost, the placement stitch on the ghost, and then I'm going to tape it in place and run the tack down. The placement. Okay. You don't have to be real exact because it will be hidden. You just want to make sure that it's in the right area. Tape down the ghost so it doesn't move. Okay, I'm taping out of the stitch line. The stitch line is going to go approximately right over there, but I just want this laying down so it doesn't flip it up. Okay, I'll run the next color change, which I'll do again in black. There we go. Now he's attached to the napkin holder cover. So the next stitch is going to be the placement line for the third pumpkin, and I'm just going to leave it taped down until it runs the placement line. Okay, now I'm going to remove my tape. Okay. One of two things. If you think that you're going to be able to see this sticking up underneath the pumpkin, which I don't think I'll be able to, but I'm going to trim it anyways. You can either leave it, or I'm going to trim it to just about 1/8 of an inch so it lays a little nicer. It is secured on here, and then it'll even be more secure when the applique is in place. See that? Okay, now I'm going to I'm using flannel for the third one. It's just a little bit different in color and texture. I think it'll look cute. and then I'll run the placement line. There we go. Now I'm going to just trim around the fabric up to the stitch line, making very, very carefully, making sure that I don't cut the ghost off, but he's laying pretty flat, so. If you hold the ghost down with your finger, then you'll know when the scissors hit it, so you don't cut them off. Okay, and then again, flannel frays a little bit if you rough it up with your nail, which is the effect that I wanted. There we go. Okay, again, I left the bottom so that it's inclusive when I do the final cutting. Okay, the next color change is going to be the placement stitch for the mouth on the center pumpkin. Okay, now I'm going to cover that with felt, run the tack down, and that's also going to stitch the details of the mouth. Okay, then I'm going to trim around the mouth. In the next 4 color changes, we'll put the details of the pumpkins on, the nose, eyes, mouth, and then the outline stitches. So I'll go ahead and run those, and then I'll come back and show you when it's done. Okay, there's the design. Okay, now the second to the last color change is going to put the border around the napkin holder. So because the ghost sticks up, you're going to have to tape him down so that he's out of the way, which is really simple to do, especially if you did use thin fabric. Just tape him out of the way. Okay, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to run the border. Okay, and the very final step is to attach the backing, and so it creates the pocket to go over the napkin holder. It's just going to stitch around there, and then that'll create an opening on the bottom. So I'll attach my hoop again. I'm just going to slide my backing under the hoop. Okay, and before I exit out of the design, I just want to double check my backing is on, and it is. So I'm going to unhoop this, and I'm going to leave this taped until after I'm done cutting the napkin holder out completely, so that I don't accidentally cut off my ghost. And then when I come back, we'll attach the bat. The bat is going to be attached right in between these 2 stars. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the design all cut out, and you can see because I left enough of a lip on the pumpkins, it's all inclusive now. It all lines up. So I'm just going to take my tape off. And straighten out the ghost. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to attach the bat right in between the stars, and I'm going to put just a little bit of hot glue on the ghost just to keep him from flopping over. So I've got my hot glue gun. You can use any kind of fabric glue you want. I like hot glue. Okay, so the bat, I'm just going to put a line of glue right along the underside. And that's going to go right in between the stars, just like that. The thing I like about hot glue is that it bonds instantly. Okay, and like I said, the ghost, I'm going to put just a line of glue right there, so that keeps him up. I'm not going to put it in the arms because I want the arms to stick out. Just like that. And there you go. That's the front part. Then when I come back, we'll stitch out the reverse side of it, which is just a, where did I stick it? It's a continuous line pumpkin design for the back. So there's my front, and we'll make the matching back. Okay? Okay, I'm going to stitch out the back side to the pumpkin ghost napkin holder cover. I've got a cutaway hoop. Got my design up. The first stitch is going to run the placement line. There's the placement line. Now I'm going to cover this with felt. Make sure that the whole area is covered. I'm going to pin it in place just because I don't want it to shift. Well, the next color change is a continuous line design. But I just don't want it to shift because my piece of felt is not very big. You want to make sure if you're pinning that you pin front to back so you don't scratch your machine, and make sure you're completely out of the stitch area. You can also secure with tape, but with felt I find that pins work the best. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the whole design is going to be stitched in one color, and it's a continuous line design that stitches in about 6 minutes. So I'm going to stop the video once it gets going and come back and show you when it's done. The next color change is going to put the border around the entire design. If you can see that the continuous line design did not complete the border, so that's what this does. Okay, the next color change, or the last color change, is going to attach the backing to this design. So I'll go ahead and get that set up. I did want to mention that I'm using heavy duty, it's called premium felt, for the backing of these designs, and I don't know if you can see the difference. This is regular standard felt, and this is the premium felt, and it's literally like twice the thickness of it. It just adds a little bit more support. This is the premium felt, can be purchased at Joann's. And I'm just going to pin this in place. You could also tape it. Just make sure that it's out of the stitch line. Okay. Before I cancel out of the design, I would just want to double check that the back is on correctly, and it is. And I'm going to unhoop this. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video while I go cut this out, and then I'll be back and show you when it's all done. Okay, here is the back side to the napkin holder, and then all you do is just slide this over just like that. There's the front and the back. So, okay, hope you like it.